order to make today's project, which will be a tie-back Khamir, first thing we're going to have to do is show you how to take your measurements. And the measurements you're going to take are from your forehead all the way back to where you want it to stop, and from your chin all the way down to where you want it to stop, and for your face. Let me adjust the camera so you can see my full body I'm doing, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this is what we're going to do. First of all, you're going to take your measurement from your forehead to where you want it to stop. Normally what I do is I'll take a string or a belt and put it right exactly where I want it to stop, so it'll be at the same level on the front and on the back. And this is kind of hard to do on your own, but it can be done. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to start right here at the crown. You're going to take your tape measure over your hair bun, because you know you want to have your hair bun in, because if you're going to wear a hair bun under it, you want it to be fitting properly, because if you don't put the hair bun in, what's going to happen is the Khamir is going to rise up and be higher in the back than it is in the front, and you don't want that to happen. So we're going to measure over our hair bun. Get your tape measure, bring it around to the level you want it to stop, and if you have a string around your waist, that's where you're going to stop. And you mark it with your finger and you hold it. And this one says 32.5. You're going to do the same thing for the front. You're going to come right here where your chin is, measure all the way down to the level you want it to stop. And to me, that is 16.5, but normally what I do is I make the front measurement around 18, and I make the back measurement around 29, because the people that I normally make these for like their Khamir to stop just above the elbow. However, I do know that some people like them to come to the waist, or below the hips, or even below the knee. So wherever you want it to stop is how far that you're going to measure it. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to do that for the front and the back. The next thing you're going to do is measure around your face, so you can know how big to make the hole, the opening. So you can know how to make the opening. And I have 23.5. Now personally, you can measure your entire face if you like, but as many times as I've made this, everybody is always 23 or 23.5, somewhere in there. So I'm thinking that's the average out of, yeah, all of the people that I've done for an adult is usually between 23 and 23.5. So I go ahead and use a 23.5 measurement, and that way it'll fit most everybody. And if it doesn't fit properly, you can always go back and sew up higher, or you could take the pins, you know, and pin it up. Whatever you want to do. It's your Khamir, you're going to make it to you. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is talk about a little bit of math. Actually, no, not even a little bit of math. We're going to go ahead and go straight to the design. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I want to talk about a few things before I get started. The Khamir that I'm going to make is actually going to be made out of this silky polyester brown and pink chevron. And but however, because my filming space is so small, I don't have enough room to cut that out and have it on camera at the same time. So we're going to use this smaller piece of fabric. I'm going to make a smaller version. Everything I'm going to show you will be the exact same on this smaller version, the process, as it would on a larger version. If it stops at above your elbow, below your waist, even if you stop it below your knee, you're going to make it the exact same way we're making this one right here. And another thing, I have an announcement to make. This fabric right here will be available for sale in my online shop that I'm starting. It is a silky polyester. It's not stretchy, but it's really light and flowy. It's a really nice fabric. And if you like these videos, do me a favor, go ahead, stop over at the shop, see what you like, and support the channel by purchasing some notions. Eventually, I don't have them now, but eventually I will have ruler sets, more fabric, pin cushions, just supplies that you need to sew with. So you can go ahead over there and support the channel by purchasing a notion or a yard of fabric or whatever you would like, so we can be able to continue to afford to buy fabric and notions to continue making these videos. And also this Khamir, I keep saying it wrong, my Texas accent keeps coming out on the videos, I apologize for that, but this Khamir will also be for sale in my online shop. As you guys know, I always make children's clothing, but now due to popular request, I'm going to start making adult clothing. And the Khamir is going to be actually the very first item in my shop. I'm so proud of myself. Well, anyway, that's enough about me yipping about my shop and fabric and all that good stuff. Let's get along with the actual project. What you want to do when you take your back measurement, when you go to the store, you want to purchase more, like double that. So our measurement was 33 inches. You multiply that by 2, that's 66 inches, which is a little over a yard. But you want to purchase a little bit more than that. So I would say go ahead, if you're going to make it to where I'm going to make this one, you want to stop at go ahead and buy a yard and a half to 2 yards of fabric if you're doing 45 inch. If you're doing 54 inch, you could probably get 54 to 60 inch. You could probably get 1 Khamir and 1 scarf out of the exact same fabric. So whatever you want to do, go ahead and do that. And this fabric, I've already done it. You're going to take your fabric, fold it in half lengthwise. You want the fold to be at the top, because this fold is actually going to be where the top of the head. So the next thing you want to do is take the measurement that you made for the back of your Khamir. Disregard this, the measurements on this ruler, because this is definitely not to scale. This is a lot smaller than the one that I was going to make. Let me get my marking utensil and I'll be back on camera, guys. 1 second. Sorry about that. I need to go get my marking utensil. And what you're going to do is start here at the top. Give yourself a ½ inch at the top, because you're going to want to make a hem. And you want to measure down the fold, the amount that you had for the back of your measurement for your garment, and you're going to make a mark. And that's what I'm doing, marking this with my handy dandy washable crayon. I suggest you do not mark your fabric with a handy dandy washable crayon, because some fabrics they do not wash out of, but this fabric right here is going to be fabric that I give to Beauty to play with when I'm done with it, and she's going to draw all over it with fabric markers anyway. So that was fine. Now you're going to go over here to the front where your face is going to be at, and that number 23, what you're going to do with that number 23, you're going to divide that by half, which will be 12.5, and you want to add that to your front measurement, which will be, if we add the 12.5 to our front measurement, our measurement for the front would be around 30. So we mark this at 33, and we're going to mark the front end at 30. So, and also remember, you're going to give a ½ inch seam allowance right here in the front. So you're going to do this actually at 30.5. You're going to mark that right there. Next thing you want to do is actually take your ruler. Can you see my ruler on screen? I can't tell. Yeah, you can. Okay, you want to take your ruler and you want to measure in about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches, whatever you're comfortable with. Inward with your ruler with a straight mark. You're going to do the same thing on this side. And the reason why you're doing this is so your Khamir won't have a point right here. And it won't have a point right here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to freehand, or you can measure it out with, if you have a flexible ruler or a hip curve, you can use that, but you're going to curve these lines together. I'm just going to freehand it because this is for demonstration purposes only. There's absolutely nobody that I know that would be able to fit this teeny tiny Khamir we're making. You curve it around to meet with the back, like that, just like you would, or you could do like you would if you were making a circle skirt and you wanted to make it really precise. You could come right here with your ruler, make a mark here, make a mark all the way around, and then join the marks with your marking utensil. You could go ahead and either put your pattern weights down, or you can pin it together and then you want to cut. I actually use vegetable cans as my pattern weight. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to see a can of beans sitting here on the table. Or sometimes I use my cell phone, remote control, whatever I have. I'm going to actually make myself a pair of pattern weights on the next challenge that we have coming up. So that's why I haven't done it yet. I'm waiting for our sewing challenge to come up. And I'm going to make the pattern weights on that. So I'm going to actually use pins. And for anyone who is interested in our sewing challenges that I host on this channel, there is a Facebook group that I have specifically for the sewing challenges only. I will put the link to that group in the description box, and you can go ahead and join it if you like. But if you're not going to participate in the sewing challenges, I would suggest not to. If you're not going to have time, don't join that group. I also have, now we're going to go ahead and cut on the line. I also have a Facebook group for modest clothing and abaya fashions. You have to forgive me, guys, if my Texas accent comes out a lot. I'm working on it, but sometimes it comes out. It is what it is. And I pronounce words wrong. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just my accent. And yeah, you can join the Modest Fashion and Abaya Sewing Group. And it's all about modest fashion, all about abayas. There are Islamic sisters in the group, Christian sisters, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness. Anybody who wants to dress modest, non-denominational, is in that group. But however, there are absolutely, positively, 100% no men allowed in that group. And if you try to join the group and it takes me a long time to accept you, that is because I'm trying to make sure you are a woman and not a man. Because men try to get in, but I don't let them in. Because, you know, it's just not appropriate if you have women of certain faiths who are in this group and their faiths do not allow for men and women to commingle when it comes to seeing what's under the, seeing clothes that are being made, such as not undergarments, I don't want to say that. I want to say clothes that you wear under your abaya are modest clothing, and we like to take pictures so we can discuss and see what's right and what's wrong, get advice. And yeah, it's just not appropriate, so I don't allow men to come in that group. There's also another group that I have for general sewing where everyone is also encouraged to join, and I will have all 3 links for all 3 groups in the description box. Okay, now I've cut this front. This is going to be right here. This corner is the bottom front of the Khamir. This is the bottom back of the Khamir. This is the top that starts at your head and goes all the way down your back. This is where your face goes. Now you remember we added 12.5 plus the measurement for the front for your chin. What we're going to do now is mark off the 12.5 here in the front. Once again, disregard these measurements that I have on this ruler because this is not to scale. Go ahead and use the measurements that I'm telling you, but not what you're actually seeing. You're going to go ahead and mark that right there, and you're going to sew from this mark all the way down to the bottom. So this hole that you're creating, let me put a straight pin in there and I'll let you see what I'm doing. So what you're doing is you're actually sewing up the front and leaving the hole for the face. Now when you do this, I suggest that you actually baste that with a really long stitch. Do not back tack it here, do not back tack it there. Go ahead and try it on. And if it fits the way you want it to fit, then you can come back and sew this permanently. So let me show you what it looks like. Let me adjust the camera if I can, 1 second. I'm gonna bring the camera up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. One moment. This is how it's gonna look. You see that? This is the front. This is where the face goes. This is, pretend like this is a person. And this is how it goes around the front. Now, if you were making a regular khimar without a tie back, you would stop right here. And you're done. Turn this in and hem it and you're done. However, we are going to be making the ones that tie behind the head. And therefore, I'm going to show you the next step. When I come back, it's actually time for me to pick up Beauty from school, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to come back and make the, let me sit here so you guys can see me, so I won't have to look up like that. Okay, I'm going to go pick up Beauty from school. I'm going to come back, I'm going to make the pink and brown chevron khimar, because it's actually, I have a client who picked that fabric out and she's probably going to come tomorrow to pick it up. So I'm going to go ahead and make that, and I'm going to actually show you how to do the tie back on the front on the khimar that I'm making for my client, because this one that I did just now for demonstration is kind of small, and I think maybe you'll be able to get it better if I show you on that one. And we'll put it on and I'll tie it in the back of my head, show you how to do it if you're new to wearing these. And that'll be the next step, and we'll talk about some fabric selections and we'll be done. So I'll be right back.